Today, as of now, it's 70%. It's devastating. These are children.
After confronting the reality of aerosol operations, it is a natural question to ask, why? Who would want to alter the very air that we breathe? The evidence is now clear that the aerosol operations are a covert activity. An operation that will never ask for your consent and that is being conducted on you and your family, regardless of your concerns. The reasons why do not appear to be restricted to a single purpose. From all data gathered at this point, there could be said to be 6 main reasons why aerosol operations are being conducted. 1. Modification and control of weather and the environment. 2. Electromagnetic operations. 3. Military operations. 4. Biological operations. 5. Planetary and geophysical change. 6. Sophisticated surveillance systems. There is an overlap that can make it difficult to discern where one program may start and another end. It's likely that many or all of these operations are being conducted at the same time. Regarding modification and control of the environment, the evidence now shows that because of the aerosol operations, the very physical nature of the atmosphere has been changed. There are several components in the aerosols which are repeatedly found. One of these is a salt that seeks and holds on to moisture and can, therefore, reduce the frequency and amount of moisture that reaches the ground. Another observation that has been confirmed over and over is that the aerosol operations frequently, if not usually, are conducted in advance of approaching moisture and storms, thereby altering weather. It may be no coincidence that drought is now commonplace and widespread, and that moisture on the planet is becoming an increasingly precious and sought-after resource. It has been claimed that perhaps these aerosol operations are intended to lessen the negative effects of global warming. Unfortunately, the facts do not support these theories, and in fact, the majority of the data strongly demonstrates that these activities are having detrimental and potentially disastrous consequences to the life and ecology of this planet. Furthermore, it is easy to demonstrate that the vast majority of substances found within the aerosols will actually increase the heat levels of the lower atmosphere, rather than decrease it when they are placed into it. The United States Air Force has publicly disclosed their intention of owning the weather by 2025. And based on the information gathered and scientific tests done, it would not be unreasonable to think that that objective has, in part, already been accomplished. The full environmental impact of these aerosol operations to the soil, the seas and lakes, the flora and fauna, and the agriculture that sustains us is staggering. Electromagnetic operations designed to affect human health, control communication and guidance systems, including airplanes and missiles, radar interference, missile destruction, enhancing the ability of transporting micro-sized particles and molecular change of the atmosphere. Barium is a highly toxic heavy metal which has been found to be one of the key components contained within these aerosols. Barium, like other metals, has the property of increasing the conductivity of electricity in the atmosphere. The more of it there is, the more precisely electrical pulses can be sent through the atmosphere. The implications of being able to modify the atmosphere electrically and magnetically are enormous. A small change in the electrical properties of the atmosphere completely alters the way in which that shell around the Earth can be used. Changes in heat and energy are at the foundation of the life of this planet and all those who dwell upon it. It is a necessary, logical, and natural supposition to assume the almost inevitable role the military has in the aerosol operations. A glimpse into the military window has been achieved and the central theme that has emerged is of control. Control in the deepest and most far-reaching sense. For when the atmosphere of the planet is controlled, life itself is controlled. If it seems unthinkable that anyone would consider such a goal, consider United States Patent 4686605 by Bernard Eastland, written in 1987, entitled A Method and Apparatus for Altering a Region in the Earth's Atmosphere, Ionosphere, and/or Magnetosphere. There are many people who have concluded that this patent essentially represents a blueprint for a facility that currently exists, which is operated by the US Air Force. HAARP, which stands for High Active Auroral Research Project, is located in Alaska, and information about it can easily be found on government websites, including pictures of the facility. The ionosphere is the upper part of our atmosphere. The stated purpose by the Air Force for the HAARP project is that of a scientific endeavor aimed at studying the properties and behavior of the ionosphere, with particular emphasis on being able to understand and use it to enhance communications and surveillance systems for both civilian and defense purposes. It may be this, and then again, it may be more than simply a scientific endeavor. Per Mr. Eastland's patent, through the use of a HAARP-like facility, it is possible to put unprecedented amounts of power in the Earth's atmosphere at strategic locations and to maintain that power level with a pulsing of energy. Take note that this patent also recommends the use of large clouds of barium to increase the conductivity of the atmosphere. Mr. Eastland stated a variety of uses for his invention, most of them military. It can focus in a particular area the massive energy necessary to create the same destruction as the detonation of a large nuclear device, without actually having to detonate such a device. It can enhance or interfere with communication and guidance systems, including those of airplanes and missiles, interfere with radar, destroy missiles, modify weather, and it can increase ability to broadly spread exceptionally tiny particles through the atmosphere. The executive summary for the HAARP project specifically mentions forcing the descent of particles from the atmosphere toward the ground. Use of the atmosphere to spread unusual biological substances. Biological definition: affecting life or living organisms. In 1977, the United States Senate held hearings on the subject of biological testing by the Department of Defense on human subjects without their informed consent. In the opening statement, Senator Ted Kennedy identified the key issue of the hearings: the known use of Americans as unwitting subjects for open-air germ warfare testing conducted in the public domain by officials of their own government. Furthermore, he poses the critical question: should a democratic people cede to its government the full responsibility of determining when secret tests on unwitting subjects are necessary to protect the nation's security? Years later, this is no longer a question that is even being posed to the public. It is a fact that harmful biological components have been repeatedly identified in a series of atmospheric samples over the past several years. Public officials have never acknowledged or responded to this evidence, and the reality of the evidence continues to be denied. You must decide for yourself if the claims of this documentary are true or not. The first step is to simply look up. Start observing the sky and the activities of aircraft above you. Observe the different trails left behind aircraft: contrails or aerosols, clouds or aerosol banks. Though the amount and frequency of aerosol aircraft activity will be different in different areas, the likelihood is that in a short time you will observe aerosol operations in the skies above you. If you decide that there is cause for alarm and that something must be done about the aerosol operations, we suggest you take the following measures. First of all, start paying more attention to your own health and the health of those for whom you are responsible. Check with your own health practitioner. If your health practitioner is not familiar with the aerosol issue, ask them to watch this program. Pass this DVD on to as many other people as you possibly can. This documentary is a not-for-profit venture. It may be freely copied in its entirety and distributed. No individual is permitted to distribute this documentary with a profit motive. It has been created for the benefit of the public. Start talking to other people about it. When you notice aerosol operations in the skies above you, ask others to look. The most important step one can take right now is simply getting people to observe for themselves what is going on. Write, call, email, and visit your elected representatives and demand answers. Join with others to openly and peacefully protest what is going on. It is apparent that success will only result from an enormous and overwhelming groundswell of grassroots activism. The sober reality is that the health of this planet has already been